Welcome to the show. I'm Roland Martin. Senators John McCain and Barack Obama spent 90 minutes Friday night debating foreign policy, national security, and, of course, America's financial crisis. But how in the world could illegal immigration and China's economic muscle never even come up? And what's with John McCain not even mentioning the middle class? They started with the federal bailout. So do we. So let's jump right in with CNN business correspondent Ali Velshi. Now, Ali, I don't understand. We saw the largest failure of a bank, Washington Mutual, and it didn't even merit a mention.
The stuff that merited a mention didn't get there, and this is a crazy week where the largest bank failure in the history of possibly the world wasn't even the lead story. Washington Mutual, many of you bank there, you have your mortgages there. Look at the size of this thing. $307 billion in assets, $227 billion in mortgage loans, 43,000 employees, 2,300 branches. About 10% of those are going to be closed. It was seized by the FDIC. This is the stuff people are worried about, Roland. They're worried about this bailout plan. They're worried about where our financial system is going, and those guys looked like they weren't all that interested in talking about it. And could we get on to something more interesting, please?
Now, the president keeps calling this thing a bailout. If poor people did this, would be called a handout, but you call it something else.
I call it a rescue plan only because the public relations behind this thing has been so disastrous that the average American is growing in their anger against it because they think that it's about helping fat cats on Wall Street out. And in some cases it is, Roland, but the bottom line is if the financial services can't get the money they need, that doesn't go to the business that employs you, you could miss your payroll check, you could lose your job, you're definitely going to have trouble getting a mortgage or a car loan or a student loan. So while this feels like a Wall Street bailout to many, don't let your anger get in the way of you supporting the fact that something has to be done, and it has to be done soon, Roland.
All right, Ellie, thanks a bunch. Now come on down and join me in my panel, folks. This show, and yes, this election is not about us or the candidates. It's about you, real Americans with real problems who want real answers. So let us know what's on your mind by calling 877-648-3639, 877-648-3639. The number, of course, right there on the bottom of your screen. And we have some of the best experts around to provide some answers that the candidates did not supply. Chris Markowski is a former investment banker and now a financial advisor. You might know him from his Watchdog role, Watchdog on Wall Street radio show. Chrystia Freeland is the U.S. managing editor for the Financial Times newspaper, and of course, conservative-leaning talk radio host, my buddy Steve Malsberg, and yes, the man of the hour, Ali Velshi, our senior business correspondent. Now, folks, before we start, I want you to look at this, since Wall Street's meltdown is pretty much the only thing people talked about all week.
Are you going to vote for the plan, Senator McCain?
I hope so, and
as the United States Senator, are both you're going to vote for the plan?
Sure, but
we haven't seen the language yet, and I do think that there's constructive work being done out there. So for the viewers who are watching, I am optimistic about the capacity of us to come together with a plan.
Christy, could somebody look us in the eye and tell us exactly what is going on here? Neither one could give us a straight answer.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that that's what we were seeing in Washington on Thursday and Friday. There's this really scary political knife edge that everyone in Congress, the presidential candidates, were on. On the one hand, no one wanted to be the first guy who was going to be responsible for and blamed for a $700 billion rescue package for Wall Street fat cats. On the other hand, as it can be caricatured, on the other hand, no one wants to be the guy who is responsible for not averting the Great Depression. So this is a very, very tricky tightrope, and you saw both McCain and Obama last night refusing to commit. I think the plan will pass over the weekend, though.
Chris,
I think they're going to get over that.
Chris, somebody's running for president. I mean, an answer would be nice.
Oh, absolutely. Let me ask you a question, though, Roland. Do you think that either one of these candidates would be where they are today, their picks for their parties, if this was the front and center issue last year?
Well, of course not. But the bottom line is we know the economy is still going to be number one. Steve, in radio, we like answers. Right. We like straight talk. Right. I'm sorry, we didn't get much of it.
No, but on that particular question, will you vote for the plan? How could they answer when they don't know what the plan is going to be? You have House Republicans that are still pushing to have the private sector bailouts, quote unquote, these troubling mortgage companies and banks, and they're hoping to get that. There's also a plan that the Democrats put in there, and I'm surprised and disappointed that John McCain didn't distinguish himself by bringing this up. They want, if we do make profits out of this deal in the future, they want to funnel some of that money to groups like Acorn and La Raza to build housing. So how could McCain say, yeah, I'll vote for it when they don't know what's going to be?
You could have said very clearly, this is the plan that I will vote for.
Right.
And they didn't say that. They could have done that. This is very specific about it, and here are the reasons. And neither of them did
Why
that.
couldn't they have said that?
Isn't it 100 pages?
I mean, it was
2.5 pages, right?
Now, look, I was at Congressional Black Caucus Foundation, and I was talking to members of Congress. It's probably why I don't have a voice. And even they didn't know.
No, this is very complicated. And in fairness, it is a massively complicated thing, but it is Congress's job at this point to lead, and it is the president's job and the candidate's job to lead. And that's what America needs, because what's happening is this thing is once again splitting to the edges. There are those who say we need a bailout or the system is going to collapse within days, and then we have those who say we are not in the business of bailing out people and making excuses for their bad behavior. But this is like your kids setting fire to your curtains and having a discussion about why you shouldn't play with matches.
Steve, I sat there and I watched the debate, and afterwards I was commenting on it, and I was stunned. I really was that John McCain did not even mention the middle class. I mean, I'm just trying to figure out.
I don't know exactly what that means. He didn't mention the middle class. He answered
what it
the
means
questions
is
that
he
were
didn't
asked
mention the middle class.
I mean, so what?
We've been talking about that for the past 3 weeks. Middle class, middle class, middle class. In the first debate, you don't even mention it?
Well, the point is, again, there were lots of things that John McCain disappointed me in not mentioning, and I didn't care that he didn't mention the middle class. I think that's ridiculous. There's a lot of things Barack Obama didn't mention.
Should have been more discussion about middle class.
But John McCain should have distinguished himself from Barack Obama. He should have said Barack Obama got $126,000 from Fannie and Freddie in 3 years.
John McCain also got money from Merrill Lynch, about $300,000. He got Merrill Lynch.
But I'm talking about Merrill Lynch.
Was the middle class left out?
I think so, and I think it was left out in that what neither of them talked about is the impact this financial crisis will have on whoever becomes president. It will severely constrain your economic agenda, whether you are Barack Obama and wanted to do health care, or John McCain and wanted to cut taxes.
People do not understand. I mean, they look at the markets and they think, oh, it's Wall Street, the Dow, the S&P, the NASDAQ. The debt markets are enormous. It's way bigger than that. And if they freeze up, we are in deep trouble.
Alan, what happened to jobs?
Listen, we've lost
the economy. No discussion about jobs.
We've lost 605,000 jobs this year alone. Everybody thinks we're going to lose more whether or not there's a bailout plan. Let's be clear on this. We're in a recession. It's going to get worse. But the bottom line is this is the only thing everybody's been talking about and worrying about for the last week. And these two candidates, neither of them, distinguish themselves as somebody who's got their finger on the pulse here. That's
real quick, Steve. John McCain did say freezing spending is a possibility. Barack Obama said, no, but I need health care, I need preschool, I need this, I need that. I think that was a difference.
But you'll admit you're grasping at straws to think that either of them presented themselves as somebody who understood this topic.
No, I agree, but at least John McCain said the right thing. Obama said, no, we got to spend, we got to spend, we got to spend.
John McCain overinflated the importance of earmarks as a contribution to the budget, and he didn't talk about how he's going to afford tax cuts at a time when the economy is contracting.
Well, thank God we've got 2 more debates, because trust me, too much was left on the table. Chris, Christy, and Steve, of course, Allie, thanks a bunch. And folks, listening to all of you was wonderful and great. But